I'm ready.
Let me turn my mic.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Wake up, everybody, because it is time for another episode of Social Discording, the podcast all about 3 people, sometimes 4, who are all stuck at home. I'm Banner Asen, your host today, joined by In the Red, Joey Spicy Fries. Hey, Joey.
How's it
And
going? Sun's killing me.
sun's killing you. I see you're repping your Washington sports team cap.
No, I'm not. It's the Chicago Blackhawks, buddy. Hockey's back.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, my bad. I forgot about. I didn't realize that was. I thought that was the unnamed team. And in the yellow, rejecting his camera today, we have DJ Zax because his hair is all messed up and he's got like one of those he's got like a Hitler mustache going on. It's really embarrassing.
It's like an on and off thing.
It's not long enough to really like be full on Hitler, so he's just like he hasn't reached completely there. What are you doing today?
We are just chilling and enjoying this nice hot summer day.
Let's have a temperature check, everyone. Let me start. Let's see. Looking at my phone. Do a temperature check for today. It is currently 82 degrees in sunny Northern California. How is it for you, Mr. Zax?
It is a smooth 92 degrees in sunny SoCal.
And
Joey.
What's up,
You're
Joey?
in
How's
Palm Desert. Beautiful Palm Desert. It's 102.
It's 10 degrees. It just gets 10 degrees hotter.
We've truly evolved.
That was incredible. So today we're going to be talking about the Xbox thing because we finally got on to actually talk about that. We're not going to spend too much time on it because I think I'm going to have a separate video where I get in depth about it. And I think people around the internet have already talked about it enough. And then we're going to talk about some sports and then maybe one other thing. I'm not sure.
TikTok. We're gonna
TikTok.
We're
We'll talk about TikTok. So I'm sure you're all wondering the results of our incredible predictions video and who won the predictions. And the answer is
me.
Nobody, because no one got a single prediction right. There's no Cuphead, no Banjo, no Halo Battle Royale or whatever nonsense. We all got it wrong.
Shock me at all.
No spin-off Halo title.
I think Pasky did say something about everything is going to be on Game Pass.
No. I checked. There was no winners in points. There was things like I mentioned Fable. Did I get a point for Fable?
You mentioned Fable, but I don't think it was a prediction.
No. I said my 3 were Cuphead, Banjo. I didn't pick Fable because it was too obvious.
No, but you mentioned it though. It wasn't a prediction.
Yeah, we got things right in terms of the general predictions, but like
don't
Fable.
Try to weasel your way into the winner's circle here, buddy.
No, I'm counting my points because I for a second I thought I actually put Fable on my thing.
Our predictions were like a little bit more like far stretched because like I think we all kind of
I don't feel Cuphead was very outlandish. I feel it should have been there.
Well, right, hey, what are you saying, Dylan?
I'm saying like we were all kind of going for like a stretch like ideas. Like we weren't like playing it safe.
Kind of in a sense. I feel like Cuphead 2 in consideration of what actually happened with Cuphead, it was definitely a stretch because they literally announced that it was coming to PS4 later that week. So it's whatever independency that Microsoft had on it is completely gone at this point, I guess. And that they are still working on the DLC, so much so they couldn't even have a trailer ready for any sort of showing, which is really strange to me. Like okay, this DLC, is this really worth the effort to not calling this a full new game or something? I just makes,
a whole new game.
It's kind of weird. But you know, it's on them, and they made a great game, so they're allowed to do whatever they want with it. My other prediction was Banjo, which we didn't get, and my last prediction was a Halo spinoff, which we didn't get as well. Joey was Cuphead.
I think I said Banjo as well.
Maybe.
Cuphead, Banjo, and I think something Halo.
You might have did the Halo Battle Royale too.
think they did.
Whatever it was, none of us got anything right. I promise it was definitely a bust. During our general like just throwing out ideas, we definitely got some stuff right because like I obviously said Fable, Forza,
Mhm.
which is not a launch title. Coming off from a week of it, how do we all think? How do we all feel?
I mean, this has been a kind of a ongoing conversation with our group, but I'd like to just say I am excited for Halo. After there's some clarification with like the whole like visually how it looks, and after you were talking about it too, I think it's cool that they're kind of going back to that original art style, and you can definitely see it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not as detailed as what we all expected, and maybe that's not the best route for Halo. Maybe we want to keep it kind of true to its original art design and
You're saying
you know,
detailed isn't like hyper detailed isn't like as like I would call it busy of Halo 5.
right. Yeah, I think Halo 2 is a game where like we don't need it to be busy to be a good game either. Like
No.
there there's a special charm about Halo. It's not Call of Duty. It's not, it's its own thing. So with that being said, I'm still very much looking forward to Halo. But overall, the I think I can speak for all of us, but you guys can obviously say whatever you'd like. But it definitely wasn't as big of a banger as I expected it to be. I thought it was going to be a little bit more hype. I think some of us in our group actually liked it a little bit more than others, but I was expecting a little bit more pizzazz. I was expecting them to really show a few things that were really, really cool.
It
And
seemed to me like I'm happy with how it looked and how the gameplay flowed. I didn't feel like there was this big giant like oh my god, this looks amazing kind of like moment, and not in terms of like graphical style because I think the graphics will improve, and I'm not huge on it.
I grapple hook.
Yeah, the grapple hook thing. The grapple hook is the one I want to point out the most. Is they when they first showed the grapple hook, they did it in the most unceremonious way possible, and I don't understand why it was so just like nonchalantly used. Like he just used it, and he's just like, woo. He just like whooshed over to like a spot. I'm like, okay, like that was the first reveal of the brand new grapple hook thing. Like I feel like there could have been more of someone talking saying this is what Halo Infinite is all about. It is open world. You're going to be exploring this whole kind of thing, going from place to place with focused missions over like just more people actually talking about what the game is instead of kind of using the trailer for people to interpret, because I feel like when you let us make assumptions, we generally have a hard time getting it right. Like it feels like they should have had someone standing there. And then I also feel like
Especially with new mechanics
yeah, and going into the open world, it just to me I felt like
and the art design too, because there's a lot of people talking
It
about
felt
that.
very minimal.
yeah, no, the art
There
styles. I
wasn't
mean,
a
I
whole
think the
lot
big problem was
to
with
it.
the lighting. I think that's what people kind of determined. The biggest problem is the fact that, I mean, for me, and I'll say this now, I'm not planning on getting a Series X at launch at this point because if Halo isn't most powerful console ever, it's the world's most powerful console, the Xbox Series X, and Halo doesn't look like it requires the world's most powerful console to enjoy. So I'm not really sweating on that anymore. Um,
I think too, though, just kind of stepping back, is we also need to look at Xbox as a
a platform.
like a platform rather than just a console. Because at this point, like, I agree with you. I really don't have any purpose for one because I could just play everything on my gaming PC.
Right.
It's like, that whatever that console can do, I'm sure my PC is going to be able to outperform it. Granted, some games are
No,
going to
no,
be
not
optimized.
at all. Not at all. That Xbox Series X is gonna like thrash our PCs.
Really?
Oh yeah,
You
for
think
sure.
so?
Yep, the specs on that. Right now, my computer is about the equivalent of an Xbox One X. So, with
But
all
also,
things,
like, those games are also like heavily optimized for those.
yeah,
Hmm. I don't know. I just feel like everything that whatever
the Series X will be stronger. I mean, that thing's going to be doing 4K 60. Our computers cannot do that. Our computers are 1080. Mine 1080 60 sometimes. Like
well,
maybe Alex's computer, I don't know, but like in terms of like our general degrees of computers, it's X. We're about the equivalent of 1X and below.
but we can also play a bunch of different games and not just tied to Xbox. So
It's true.
Sure,
take
but
that, Microsoft.
there was that rumor, there was that little listing for World of Warcraft for the Xbox Series X, and the fact that Gabe Newell came on to talk and was asked like which console he prefers, he's like, yeah, Xbox, blah blah blah, and then to have and Xbox has been doing all this stuff with Steam. I still think that PC mode thing could be a thing, like switching into like a desktop mode, and you could just download Steam right off there. I think
Console already? There is a Steam console.
I mean it's a dedicated Steam PC, but that's not really a console. And those don't really, I don't really think they sell those really anymore. I think those were kind of let go for a while ago. The Steam Box, I believe it was called.
Yeah.
Those are just like pre-built PCs essentially.
Only accessibility to Steam.
No, I mean I think they had general PC features, but they were like built for Steam integration.
Right.
So overall with Halo, I just think they should have showed more. I think it was kind of weird to be like your big showpiece title and not have like, you know, a bunch of different things to show off for it. I mean, I get that they're probably kind of rushing it, but they're kind of they're running against the clock here. There's not a lot of time left to really show off the game, and I think that your first showing after 2 years of teasing should have been Babushka. Babushka, come on. We need that Babushka. Oh, my light went out.
This definitely would have made me want an Xbox Series X much more. But
Yeah, and that kind of
I
leads
didn't need
into
Babushka.
that kind of leads into the whole discussion of I understand that Xbox wants to talk about their platform as a whole in the Xbox ecosystem, but they made that console that was expensive to make, and they definitely want to sell it. They want people to buy the Xbox Series X, and for the three of us, mostly Joey and I, for being us being like the gaming enthusiasts, the people who want like the good tech, the cool new thing, for them not to come out and try to convince us, I think is a mistake. Like you want that casual audience to be able to be like, oh, I can just play on my phone because of xCloud. That's awesome. I'll pay $15 a month for that. You want us, the people like me, to be like, I want a Series X day one because that is the best piece of tech ever. Blah 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 blah. It's kind of weird that they. Well, I mean, I guess that it goes into the fact that this wasn't an Xbox Series X presentation so much as it was a Game Pass presentation, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Everything beyond Game Pass is really cool, but I want them to convince me to get an Xbox Series X and on day one, and not 2 years down the line when Fable and Avowed and the cool stuff that we're really interested in starts coming out. But yeah, it was a good presentation. I liked it, but I think that could have wowed me more.
Well,
Definitely could have been a better presentation, but was good for what it was.
And if I can play, if I can play Infinite on my PC, run it at about, 1080, 60, it'll be smooth as hell, I think, and still look pretty decent. I think that'll be fine by me. But I don't really see the need to get a Series X. There's not really a game that stands out. It's like you have to play this game. I mean, maybe the medium, but I feel like that's going to be a pretty short game.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think there's some people in our group that have difference of opinions, so we definitely would want to get those eventually when they are available. But I agree with you guys.
Our Xbox enthusiast of the group.
Yes.
He's very excited about it. He seems a lot more excited about it. But I feel like there's, until we know the exact launch lineup, I don't really know if there was something that was like, hey, you need to get a Series X. I mean, and the whole point of it was that you don't have to get the Series X at launch because Halo Infinite's not on, or is on other spots. So
Right.
okay, let's talk about some sports. Did you all know that sports are back? I don't know if you heard this, but sports, they're back, baby. They're better than ever.
Yeah. So I'll take this because I want to talk about basketball, and I had a few things I wanted to mention. So
The Bubble
basketball
Bowl
is officially back. We had preseason or the scrimmage games, whatever you want to call it, and the NBA is officially back, and they, since being there, have 0 cases of COVID, which is very, very promising. So as of now, the bubble method is working. It is kind of interesting though, because, these players are obviously needing, more than just what's available in the bubble. No one's really been complaining, but there has been instances, specifically with Lou Williams, where he left the bubble for a family reason. Someone in his family passed away, and he proceeded to go to Magic City Strip Club, located in Orlando, upon his arrival. So he got a 10-day quarantine suspension. And it seems like, I mean, everyone's kind of been making fun of him because obviously this guy's going to a strip club and then going back to the NBA. The NBA did what they needed to do to make sure that he's healthy and are giving him tests.
Can I
But-
ask a question before about the specific case? This is the first time I'm learning of it. How did they find out that he did this? Did he release that information, or did someone catch him?
No, he released information because
Okay.
upon arrival, they asked him, like, hey, where did you go? And he was like, oh, I picked up food at Magic City, which in his, without going into too much detail because it's not really relevant, he is a avid goer to Magic City, and he actually has a meal named after him at Magic City. So, but regardless,
I don't need to hear the defense of this man and his strip club habits. It's fine. Man
but-
can do whatever he wants.
he could do whatever he wants, absolutely. But all has been well, and more specifically, what I wanted to get into is the cool fan integration into the games. They have
Actually, sorry, I wanted to make one more comment about him. I feel like it's a very different story if he didn't disclose it and they caught him. I feel like that'd be a very different story. But the fact that he did disclose it says that okay, things are like people are taking this seriously. People know what they're doing, and like for him to just be like, I know that's something I actually did. Like I this is something I did. So that's like okay, as long as he wasn't hiding it, we're still good.
right. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting situation. Kind of controversial. A lot of people have mixed opinions on it, which we all expect. But in regards to the actual NBA, it's kind of cool because they are doing similar to I think baseball tried doing. But essentially, what they did is they made a general basketball court that every team uses. There's 3 copies of it, so there could be multiple games going at the same time. But fans can log on through ESPN and actually become a part of the game, and you could be featured on the screen. You can also cheer using like this automated cheer method. So like if you want to cheer, you press cheer or boo, and then it kind of simulates the sounds in game, which is really cool.
So this is exactly the same thing we were talking because we were literally talking about this like a month and a half ago, where we were like, "This is what they should do." Blah blah blah. They copied our idea. The NBA is watching social discording, Dylan.
Yep.
Yeah.
We are true
Pioneers of
pioneers of social basketball, social discording basketball. Yeah. So they have everyone up on the screen, and there's obviously a cap to how many people are on there. But you can cheer, you can see your face, you can move your arms around. It's really cool. There is a slight delay, and they are working on it, but it's as expected. I mean, I don't see how you would not experience a delay with that kind of thing. But it is really cool to say the least. And baseball's back too, and I think Joey can talk about baseball. I'll hand it off to him on that. But I'm super excited, and it sounds like we are kind of moving in the right direction in terms of sports. And maybe that's the puzzle to other industries as well. So,
wait, real
yes,
quick.
okay.
Real quick about baseball. I have some questions for you, Joey. Mr. Joey, my favorite team is the Houston Astros, and I
Cheater.
think they were treated very unfairly last year. And I just wanted to know: has the NBA finally dropped their balls and forgiven the Astros for what they did? What do you think about this?
okay.
The NBA, the MLB.
The Astros. Did the NBA forgive the Astros?
All right, this is a terrible introduction. Joey, let's...
The Houston Astros. Okay, I will address this, but not in the way that Joe wants to take it. The Houston Astros were punished for their cheating ways, but
Not enough.
I feel that no. The Major League Baseball Association was far too lenient with them. AJ Hinch and I forgot his other name. The other manager, They both were suspended for a year. They cannot coach any team whatsoever. They are gone for a whole year, no pay. That's the worst they got. And they had to pay a fine. None of the players sought any punishment whatsoever. So, yes, they got punished, but they didn't see enough of it. And
It's like
And now they're facing physical punishment from other teams.
oh yes, they are at least getting hit by a pitcher once every game.
You gotta love it.
Oh, I love it completely. Eventually, the league will say, "All right, you guys got to cut it out," but they haven't said anything so far. See, now here's one thing though. A few games ago, the Dodgers and the Astros played. Joe Kelly, former relief pitcher of the Boston Red Sox, now pitching for the Dodgers, hit Alex Bregman, then went on to pitch against Carlos Correa, struck him out, and uttered the words, "Nice swing, bitch." And that started an argument between the two. No fighting, but that did get both teams to come out of their dugouts and kind of get into each other's faces. Joe Kelly is facing an 8-game suspension for it. Carlos Correa, no Astros, no one. No one is facing any punishment for it. They're getting away with freaking murder in this league.
Well, you
Well,
said
it's-
that the pitcher started it though, right?
By saying something, yes, you have the right to say whatever you want,
Right.
but
Do you though? Is that actually in
Yes.
the rule? Like you're allowed to like verbally assault players on the other team?
I mean, players can be as tenacious as they want. If you
players
want
can
to,
talk trash all they want.
if you're just gonna sit there and just cuss someone out, yeah, they're gonna stop you. But for a measly
All he
comment,
said was "nice swing" and "bitch," obviously, but then Correa jumped in and started mouthing off at him. So
right, and it's also a team that beat the Dodgers in the World Series by cheating, so it's a
Mhm.
very touchy subject.
Right,
and it's like,
but you have to take the incident like
you know that
Just
the
as
bad
the-
blood
I-
is going to be there, and it's going to boil over because these are the teams that were in the World Series, and one team got cheated, the other team cheated on them. So you know something's going to happen.
No.
But
I know.
when
I
one
get all
team
that.
gets punished and the other team doesn't get punished when a fight breaks out, something's wrong.
I
Completely.
know. I 100% get that, but we're talking about a case. You have to take the case isolated, the isolated event. You can't look at what's happening around that event historically or whatever. The isolated event, and one person started the fight. That person is the one liable for punishment. Now, granted, I don't know if the other player should have get suspended. I don't know the exact rules and the precedent that the MLB has set. But if that person is punished because they started the fight, I understand why they made that decision. There's a whole politics around that whole thing that I don't understand exactly. But in terms of like the isolated event, I feel like that makes a little bit of sense. I don't know
Well,
the
yes
rules on
and no.
verbal assault in the MLB, so.
I don't know the specific rules either. I just know that any player can say what they want. It's not like they have to watch their tongues. Like, I mean, I get it. He struck the player out. He went on to brag about it. Did he go a little too far? Probably, but he shouldn't be facing an 8-game suspension for it. Oh, well. Anyways, I didn't want to start addressing the Astros. I wanted to go off of what Dylan said when he was trying to move over to MLB. Dylan was saying that MLB started shortly after the NBA, and they were looking safe as well. That's not entirely the case. In fact, we could be losing the baseball season altogether. The commissioner of baseball came out yesterday or the day before that to publicly announce that he will be ending the season if the COVID pandemic does not get any better. And one huge reason because of that is the Miami Marlins, not even a week into the season, 17 of their players tested positive
17.
for coronavirus, and 2 of their coaches also tested positive. So, being that we are in a minimalized season, teams are put down to a number of 30 players. When 17 of your players, that's more than half of your team, is testing positive, that's not a good sign.
But Joey, they still
And-
have 13 players. That's enough to field a team.
Yes, but the problem is those 19 players, however they caught it, play with other teams and share clubhouses with other teams. The New York Yankees came to the clubhouse that the Miami Marlins were staying in to play the Phillies. They had to scrub that thing clean just to make sure no one was
And
catching
you know
it
those
on the Yankees side.
those Yankees, bunch of spit swappers they are. They're getting those Marlin mouths going. looking at Big Daddy Jeter owning them Marlins, being like, "Hey Jeter, let me see your player." Spit swapping.
No, but all seriousness though, this caused the postponement of not only the Marlins to be able to play, but the Phillies also had to be stopped from play because they were the last team to play the Marlins. So it's ruining the season as far as the teams aren't being allowed to play. So it's slowing things down, and it's just causing a risk for other players to catch this virus that really shouldn't be happening.
Well, I think the baseball is kind of a different situation than basketball, obviously, because they're still dealing with outdoors and going into other people's stadiums and whatnot.
Right. See, now
It's
I
not-
made a different argument saying baseball should be the safest sport. And I only say that because the fielders are so spread out, and the only time a player is really ever close to someone is when a runner is on base. That's the only reason I would think that it would be the safest sport. Whereas basketball, you're all up on each other.
I have so many.
Football, you're all up on each other.
Right.
I have
but
so
it's
many
also-
I have so many like holding my noses, but actually like examples of sports that are like could be safer. Like I think tennis would probably be the safest sport.
Well, no,
No.
I'm talking real
tennis
sports.
already
man.
tennis already jacked up.
I'm talking
tennis-
real sports here.
True, fair point.
Team sports. But
Major American team sports of the
Mhm.
I
the
think-
the four big ones.
I think baseball is they need to just invest more into their like safety protocol and cleanliness situation.
Definitely.
And because like, dude, there's a video of a guy scrubbing the backboard from after the game. Like after the
Mhm.
basketball game, the dude was up on a ladder scrubbing the backboard. Like
Yeah.
that's insane. So I
You
mean,
gotta make sure
obvious-
everything's clean. I get it.
Right. I think baseball in its own regards has its own thing obstacles it needs to overcome. But I just think, with this incident already happening, they're going to be a lot more strict. And obviously, it's not
Oh,
bulletproof.
definitely.
They're on a controlled environment like the bubble. So,
Right. But if they
you
can't
know.
get a hold on it, then the season will be ended, as told by the commissioner of baseball.
And that's the thing is
Now,
go ahead.
no, go ahead, Joe.
Oh, it's just the thing is like that one incident, collapses the whole system, and it's not like basketball has a handle on things for now, but it's one of those things where it's like, what happens when that one person just doesn't say something they should have, and then they infect someone else, and then it's just a whole spread.
Spreads.
Like it's entirely possible. Like basketball has a handle on it for now. They could go through the whole season and nothing happens. But it's still a case of just like one thing could destroy the whole system. It requires
Exactly.
the entire system to be working together towards the same goal. And living in America, I don't believe that's possible.
Mhm.
Well, this is also bringing back to like the whole strip club scenario. Is a reason why he got a lot of clapback is because he literally could risk all the investors, the entire NBA, all these teams.
When somebody
that
think
money
about the
behind it-
investors.
I'm just saying, there's a bunch of money and a lot of time and a lot of people involved in this. And for
Yep.
someone to be selfish and just go to a strip club because
But
they
he
got
was
an excuse
upright and
not to-
honest about it, and that's good of him to be that way. He could have hidden it and ruined the whole season.
No,
but it
100%,
also,
he
could
shouldn't
be
doing it.
extrapolated to like the country as itself is like we're all part of the economy, and the fact that so many people are acting and doing selfish things and just doing like really stupid things just tells you it's
Yeah.
like no one gives a fuck unless it directly affects them. These basketball players, like they probably care a lot more than the average American does about the economy. But someone is gonna do something slightly out of bounds, not think about it, and then come back and then I mean, I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but it's very possible it's gonna happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens.
Well, the NBA did already say that like if there was a COVID outbreak, they would shut down the season. But if it's just like one or two, they will take it as case by case
Yeah, sure.
until it becomes overwhelming enough.
Yeah, of course.
But so far so good. And we can,
I think for
I'm not gonna try-
basketball, it's a lot easier because you don't have to have as much players in the mix of everything as you do.
Mhm.
Like with baseball, it's like there's
I
a lot
think
of
you're
fucking players.
mistaken. You're 100% mistaken. Like if
really?
you think about it, dude, they got coaches, they have athletic people, they have trainers, they have therapists, they have doctors, they have I mean, for a single team,
I
it's
mean, they have
probably
that.
upward-
They have the same thing they have with baseball. I'm just talking about like when you're in a dugout of a baseball game, everyone's packed in there, and then there's you have all those players. You have baseball teams are way
the-
bigger than basketball teams.
Yes, but I mean, they're also going to come up with ways like have you the NBA layout of where all the players sit. They're like socially distant seats.
Right, that's what I'm
and
saying,
I'm sure
like-
in the dugout they're going to have like tempered glass in between everyone.
So, yeah, that's those two sports. Let's talk about another sport that's back. Now I'm talking a real man sport, hockey. And they're playing it a lot like the NBA. They've got two bubbles, in fact. They've got two hub cities. One's in Toronto, one's in Edmonton. They're keeping it freaking clean as can be. 853 out of 853 players tested negative for coronavirus. And they are keeping everything locked down.
And that's actually interesting. I'm not as familiar with the hockey situation, but are they just like are they
All the players
like,
are up
do
in
they
Canada,
travel-
and
they
they
travel
travel.
between?
Yeah. But the way they got to travel is they've got everything from stadium to bus to next to hotel, wherever they got to go, fenced and barricaded off.
Wow. So it's serious.
Yeah.
I mean, you also got to think too, just like in terms of players' mental health and stuff. Like, at what point do you need to call it? Because these are people too. I mean, to live in this quarantine lifestyle where you're in a bubble and you can't see your family and you can't see your friends and you're just limited to FaceTime and Zoom or whatever you do.
Yeah, but
It's
like
like,
that's
that's
also what
also
everyone.
very-
That's also what America's going through. Like you're supposed to be at home, not interacting with anyone. Like there are people who have been
Right, but
quarantined
these
for months
players
and haven't
have-
seen.
These players have the options. Like LeBron said, he was like, being with my family is like one of the best things. Like I haven't got to be with that kind of time. He said he hasn't been able to have that kind of time with his family since he was like 18 because basketball is always, summer for 2 months and then back to work. And then you're traveling all year. And then it's, 2 days here,
That's
3 days
that's
here.
the nice thing about this COVID setup for these sports leagues is that they're minimalized. So hockey's
but they're
jumping
also
right into
missing
the
on their
playoff
family.
qualifiers. They go into the playoffs. That's it. They're done. I don't know when they're going to jump in the next season. Same could be said for the NBA or the MLB if they finish the end of the season. We don't know when they'll start the next one.
Well, as far as like player mental health, I'm sure that's it's a very important thing, and I'm sure they need to make sure they have like mental health physicians on staff at all times. But it is, they are experiencing a situation that is very similar to ours in terms of like they need to be stuck at home. It's like I haven't seen my family since February.
Right.
And I think it's as long as they have a way of being able to be like I need to step away and not be like punished for wanting to step away, then it should be fine. I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to see in terms of Lakers. It's going to be interesting to see this whole playoff situation. This is the first time the Lakers have been in playoffs since 2013. So it's been a long time coming. We had a lot of down years, so I'm super excited for basketball.
Is the playoffs already happening? Wait, or how far are we into this?
So each team played 3 scrimmage matches already, and each team is also in game 2 out of 8. So once when we hit those 8, there is like a 4 or 5 day break, and then we jump right into playoffs.
Okay, so the Lakers aren't in playoffs, but I'm sure they won both their games.
They won one of the 2 so far. They beat the Clippers, and they lost last night to the Raptors.
Oh, so wait. So are they in the playoffs?
Yeah, they've
they-
already.
they
Yeah,
clinched
they've already clinched first. I mean, they have to win one more game, and they clinched first seed.
Yeah.
In playoffs, so they're
Okay. So I'm completely confused then. So how many
This is a
regular season games are there?
They pretty much
regularly 81, and they got to
Yeah.
like 60 before coronavirus.
Oh, they're counting the original games.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is a
they're not
continuation
starting
of
over
last
fresh.
season.
Oh, gotcha.
same thing with
Okay.
hockey.
Okay.
And baseball is
Because
fresh.
I was like, what are you talking about? They've played 2 games out of 8 and they've won 1 of them, and you say they're in the playoffs? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, but no, it makes 100% sense. Okay, cool.
Yes, they have clinched because of last season. So they had like pretty much like a 4-month hiatus, which
Gotcha.
is interesting in itself because all these teams have a lot of rust on them, and all these guys are trying to like get their legs back underneath them. Trying to get back to the groove, even with teammates. Remembering plays and stuff. So it's not only like a physical challenge, but it's also like a huge mental challenge. So it's
Yeah.
kind of interesting to see this play out, and I mean, it's going to be one of those seasons for basketball and hockey where it's like there's going to be an asterisk next to that 2020. And if you want to say it's easier or harder, I argue it's a lot harder for teams.
Because you're
But
sitting for months. I mean, yes, you're practicing, but you're sitting for so long and you're getting out of your groove. You gotta get back into it.
right, so yeah, I mean, it's crazy, and it's kind of also interesting to see this play out.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. Our last
Yeah.
topic today is we're gonna talk about
Dude,
Trump's
you
TikTok
destroy-
ban.
I was about to give us the best transition ever, and you just destroyed it.
We're gonna say the clock's ticking and then TikTok, whatever.
No.
Okay.
Anyways, we were talking about TikTok.
I'm talking about TikTok. So is TikTok banned? Is it like, can you access it?
This second, it is not banned, but
Okay.
it's most likely going to be banned within this next like month or
Week.
so. They're just kind of waiting on like the final steps of legislation to officially ban it, and primarily it's because the Chinese the terms on TikTok especially are extremely favorable for them to take information, and it's already been banned in India. So, it's not like we're the first or anything. So it's kind of interesting. But the funny thing about this, and this is actually not very well known information yet, it's kind of secret. Instagram is going to be making Instagram Reels. And Instagram Reels is almost a direct copy of TikTok on the Instagram platform. It's going to be a separate app.
I thought
but
this
there's gonna
was
be-
I thought this was widely known. I didn't know this was insider information. Do I have an insider? Who's my insider? I knew this.
You knew that Instagram
Dylan
has.
is my insider.
Yeah, I knew that.
You knew
And there was reports saying that Facebook was working on a TikTok competitor.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of like expected. Like they're the biggest company that probably is easiest to pull something like this off.
Well, yeah, because they've been legitimately building competing services against every major social media network. I mean, you've seen them. They made sort of a Vine competitor. They did Snapchat competitor. And I think their Snapchat competitor, like their the Snapchat service integrations of Instagram, have eclipsed Snapchat. I believe. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
In terms of like how much people are actually using that on a day to day.
But yeah, so
They
it's
still
kind of
ain't
interesting.
they still ain't coming for Reddit. Reddit's safe. You can't get us. You can't get us. Facebook, come and fight. They don't want us. We're dirty.
Well, Reddit, I think Reddit's tough just because it's such like a bland like. It's literally just a community. Like it's not like there's no tech behind it really. It's just blogs
Right.
or like blog forums. It's nothing really to compete with,
Well, originally with Reddit, but like as Reddit's been developing and as more investment has gone into Reddit, it's been developing more into social systems of like accounts and award. Like it's becoming more and more of a mess, and I feel like it's just becoming less and less. Like I don't know. It just like I don't feel like there's really.
Well, they're trying to make their money.
Oh yeah, of course, sure. But like if Reddit were to disappear tomorrow, I would just be like, okay, cool, whatever. Like it's not Reddit is not important. It's not vital anymore. I think that as a population rises within a social media platform, the content of it becomes less and less and less. Like you just need to find your own focused content for the stuff that you want to look at, and that's about it. And that goes for any media platform, including Twitter.
Yeah.
Let's talk about TikTok though. Sorry, I drew us off of that.
But TikTok, I am pretty interested to see what goes down. Like, there's obviously a lot of like these people that got famous off TikTok. The whole TikTok situation is quite interesting. So it's going to be weird, and I guess kind of interesting to see in terms of social media presences if these are able to transition over to other platforms and be just as powerful. Because
My
TikTok definitely
guess,
different.
My
my-
guess is what's going to happen is that
I guess no. There's very few that will. The lot that are not going to be able to transfer over.
here's my prediction. My prediction is that the company that runs who is the company that runs TikTok? Do we know?
I don't know exactly.
It's just called TikTok. I mean, it's not Tencent. It's not like Nycom or Alibaba. My guess is that TikTok will create a specific instance version for countries that want to have a non invasive version of TikTok, and it'll just be back on in a few months. They'll just be like, hey, we're going to be running through these specific rules. They're going to start following certain regulations, and that's going to be it. And TikTok will be back. And that'll be probably the best option, because I don't think banning a Chinese platform, because China does some fucked up shit, so does America, but I don't think that banning the whole platform is necessary. I think they just got to be like, hey, you need to follow our regulations in order to exist in America, because every fucking company in America wants to get on that Chinese market, and they have to follow all their little rules and regulations to get into that ecospace. So TikTok should have to do the same, and I think they will. I think they won't throw that money away. They won't go quietly into that good night.
Interesting. I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it's also kind of like the whole what platform was it that just went under the stream service?
Mixer?
Mixer.
Sir.
It's kind of like Mixer. Like,
How?
in a sense, like there's a direct competitor. Obviously, it's for a different reason. Like for TikTok, it's for security reasons. But it's just interesting to see like if there is a direct copy service, how will that perform? And I guess this is a little bit different situation because people aren't really going to have an option here.
I think that TikTok established itself for a long enough time and captured that youth market long enough to where I don't think any better competitor can come in and try to take that space. I think someone would have to do something new. So I think if let's say TikTok disappeared and never came back. TikTok disappeared, never came back. I'm sure Instagram could come in and fill that space and grow. But if TikTok comes back in a few months, I doubt Instagram is going to be able to take over that space, because Instagram's already become, not Instagram, but Facebook has already become the place for old people to be on, and it's no longer 10 years ago. Facebook was the place that our generation came on to hang out, and then
to play Farmville on.
Yeah, play Farmville on. And then the old people came, and we moved on to other places. And then TikTok came around for Gen Z, and they're all on there. And as people like us start feeding into there, and older people, TikTok will become less popular, and something else will pop up. But I don't think that.
Oh gosh.
Unless Instagram.
Next thing we know, there's going to be old people making TikToks.
Yeah. Well, there are. I mean, there already are. But TikTok exists and is profitable, I believe, as far as I know. They're making hand over fist over money, whereas Snapchat came in, disrupted the marketplace, but couldn't make money enough to grow fast enough, and so Instagram was able to come in and just take it. Whereas TikTok, I think, can fight a bit harder because they're backed by so much interesting things.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
I've got a text message on my phone. It says, let me read this to you. You've agreed to receive messages from Burger Patch. Reply stop to unsubscribe, or help for help.
I love Burger
Reply help for help.
Patch.
You should reply help for help.
Help for help. And with that, that'll be it for episode 14, 13? I forget what episode we're on. Social Discord.
I want to talk a little more about this social media thing. This is interesting.
We'll have to save it for next week, because we're at 45 minutes. What else do you want to talk about?
I guess that's all.
Okay.
Save it.
Cool. Next week, social media, always. Social Discord.
See you there.
Hey. Goodbye, everyone. I've been Ben RSN. That's been Joey Spicy Fuzz in the red and DJ Zax in the yellow. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.